I know you could be doing a lot of things and decide to join us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics in our outrageously fine studios. So we appreciate you doing that. And I think you made a wise choice because Darrin Simmons, 22 years special teams coach in the National Football League, Bengals assistant head coach as well. His group had a game. They had a day. Offense did what they needed to do to win the football game. Defense played at a very high level, as did special teams. So 2 out of the 3 phases played very, very good football. Man, 100-yard kickoff return to start the game. Lost the coin toss. Okay, well, they're going to defer. They're going to kick off to you. Darren's probably like, yeah, I get to show my adjustment. And he had Drew Sample doing something different than he'd done all season long in terms of his blocking assignment. And boy, he sprung Charlie 100 yards. Bengals have a lead 12 seconds into the football game. Never trail. Big momentum shift. They got all of the energy on their side because Cleveland had been on the road for 3 weeks and Chubb was back and all these things to energize the Cleveland Browns. The Bengals took the air out of the balloon, that big special teams play. Charlie also had a 23-yard punt return. He was outstanding in the return game. The Bengals dominated field position, average drive start. They were 11 yards better than the Cleveland Browns, total to about 150 yards of hidden yards. Big day for Darrin Simmons and his group of special teamers. We talked about it with him. Great call by you to join us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And check this studio out. How lucky are we? First Star Logistics sets us up. And this gentleman set up his special teams for success. 22 years of excellence for the Cincinnati Bengals in terms of special teams. He's also assistant head coach. He's as good a football coach as I've ever been around. He knows his stuff. A great human being to boot. Darrin Simmons, Coach, we appreciate your time. I know it's busy times for you, sir.
Well, thank you for having me on. I always enjoy coming on.
So, how about it? 12 seconds into the football game, one of the big things was, man, Cleveland, they've been on the road for 3 weeks. They're going to come back to that crazy fan base. Nick Chubb's coming back. Man, he's going to be the last guy introduced, I think. Yeah, he was. And they react accordingly and everything. And 12 seconds later, Bengals up 7-zip. They're kind of sitting on their hands. And take us through that one, Coach. That was a spectacular return by Charlie Jones.
Yeah, we went through this exact same scenario, on Saturday night before the game, talking about the crowd's going to be electric. I'm sure that, they're going to introduce the offense, and I'm sure that Chubb will be last, and the place is going to explode. They're trying to live on, the emotion of him coming back. And so certainly it was good by our guys to come out and put a stop to that, right away and kind of flip that energy and momentum and kind of pop the balloon, so to speak, with that right away. So it was really good to flip the tide, flip the momentum on them, right away. The play that we ran, it was, sometimes, when you draw something up, sometimes it works that way. Sometimes it works exactly the way you have it drawn up. Sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
This one happened to work out exactly the way we thought it would go. And so that was really, really cool to see, to have something, kind of come to life right in front of your face and work. And, we had all 11 guys do exactly what they're supposed to do on that play, which they should do that on every play. But as you know, it's the guys on the other side get paid too.
Yep.
And so it was good to see. It was really good. It's a really good effort. It was a great finish. It's an unbelievable finish by Charlie, to stay in bounds there right at the very end. I didn't know I didn't know until the officials signaled something how close he really was over there. But really an unbelievable effort by a lot of guys, and certainly by Charlie getting into the end zone.
And by you setting them up for success, you make an adjustment, what you have Drew Sample doing. And, I mean, it literally looked like an isolation play, and Drew Sample's the fullback, Charlie's the tailback, and, attacking downhill, and Drew Sample gets his block as he always does. Man, that guy, he never has the spotlight shining on him, but, man, he does his job about as well as anybody, and he moves his guy, and Charlie hits it. And after the game, Charlie said, I just did what Coach Simmons said. He said, if I hit it, get to the right, man. Get to the right. And I got to the right and went to the house.
Well, I'm gonna remember that too. I wish he'd do what I say. I wish he'd do what I told him to do all the time. If he would, we'd have a hell of a lot more punt returns. But no, like I said, it happened to work out exactly like we wanted to. I think with the changes in the way the kickoff rules are now, Drew Sample's been a very, very effective blocker on kickoff
Yeah.
return for us over the past years. I would tell you that these new rules probably don't help him a whole lot. It's probably not as easy for us to really take advantage of him the way we have in the past. But, we were able to come up with a little bit of something that kind of got him back in a position that he was comfortable with, kind of being that lead blocker, if you will, a little bit. And it was something I was highly, highly confident in that he was going to execute well, and he did. So, like I said, very happy for all those guys. They all did a hell of a job.
So, Coach, I think it was only the third kickoff return for touchdown this season. Goes for 100 yards. And Charlie Jones now finds himself in elite company. I mean, Lamar Parrish and Charlie Jones, the only guys in franchise history, have a punt return touchdown and a kickoff return touchdown. And I played with Lamar Parrish, and that dude was electric. I mean, He was a freakazoid return guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I found myself like mouth agape watching him return, as ready to go on the field offensively. He was unbelievable. Charlie now, he had a 23-yard punt return as well. He touched the ball 5 times as a returner in the football game for you and averaged 28 yards per touch. Pretty darn effective.
Well, it was good. We've been looking to kind of get that portion of the game going. We haven't had a ton of opportunities on kickoff return. We felt very confident Cleveland was going to kick us the ball because they challenged every team that they went up against so far, and we felt very confident they were going to do that again, and they did. And thankfully, it was on the opening kickoff there, and so we were able to get started fast. It's always better, certainly as you know, as a player, when you can play with the lead. It's just a different feeling on the sideline. There's not the, I don't know what you want to call it, the state of anxiety or the fear of being behind and guys start to press a little bit. It's certainly better when you can play in front. So, we can do that in the first play of the game. That certainly helps.
And you got in front and stayed in front. They scored and missed an extra point. You guys never gave up the lead. I mean, that was big, man. It really was a factor all throughout the football game, and game management and decision making and all that sort of thing was a huge factor in it. So the other thing you look at is field position from a special team standpoint. I know you're very observant of that, and there were factors, turnovers, et cetera. But one of your kickoffs, they had trouble handling that bad boy, and you set them back. Very poor field position. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 times. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 5 times they start inside their 20-yard line. I mean, they start inside the 10 3 times, a 4th time at the 11. I mean, that's setting them back. 14 possessions for each team. You had an 11-yard field position advantage, 36 drive start for you, 25 for them. That's 154 hidden yards. That's darn near 2 football fields, and then you take penalties into consideration.
Yeah.
There was like 40-some-odd advantage in penalties. They had 10, we had 3. The Bengals had 3, and it's like 40-some-odd yards. It's a couple of 100 yards right there, 2 football fields and yards that you said, yeah, we'll take them, let's go.
Well, I think especially when they've had some struggles on offense like they've had too, that anything that sets them back or puts them on the negative side of field position will really affect them. And I think that showed in the game. They started to press a little bit. Our defense got a couple turnovers there in the third quarter, which really changed the flow of the game. And again, like I said before, when you're playing from ahead, it's really helpful. When you're behind, guys start to press a little bit and start to try to make plays. And when you try to make plays, that's a lot of times when things go wrong. So it's certainly to be on the other side of that field position battle, and always be on in a favorable way that way.
So I got to ask you, was there any breeze down on the field that was an issue? Both field goal kickers missed, they missed from 49, we missed from 50. They missed an extra point as well. Was there anything that we weren't cognizant of, or was it just, not their day?
Just not their day. That's about as good a day in Cleveland, I think, as you're ever going to play it. I mean, it was beautiful out. The field was in superb condition. The grass was great. And usually, it's freezing cold or it's raining or it's always something in Cleveland. But it was a great day out. So, no, I think the weather had no effect on any of the kicks. I think it just, not great execution. It certainly wasn't very good execution on our end. we got to have a cleaner snap. We got to have a cleaner hold to give Evan the chance to make that kick. So not good enough by those three guys. They had their struggles too as well. Hopkins, he missed a couple in pregame warm up, and then ended up having exactly the same misses in the game. So, just not a good day for kickers in Cleveland Stadium.
Punting the football, I think you had 4 inside the 20 and maybe 1 touchback, I think, something like that. Or maybe it was 4 without any touchback. It was that part of it was good, but overall, not as pleased as you hoped to be.
No, it certainly was not. I think it was by far Ryan's worst game here with us. He was great in pregame warm up. He had the ball really good. Powerful like he's been. I mean, Ryan was the number 1 ranked punter, and Bojorquez, their punter, was the number 2 ranked punter.
Right.
Coming into the game, and it felt good coming out of pregame warm up, and we just didn't do a good enough job carrying it over into the game. And the alarming part to me was, when things kind of went bad, he just struggled to get it back. And sometimes that you identify things that you're doing technically that you need to fix from one punt or one kick to the next. And
right.
We just didn't do a good enough job of getting that done and applying it to the game, applying it to the next punt. So I expect certain things. I expect better from him, and I know he'll be better in the future. It's in there. He just got to get it. It just wasn't a good day for him. Tough day.
Couldn't be happier for Tyson Anderson, man. I mean, he's getting the job done for you as a gunner, and all the adversity this kid's faced, and he's such a great kid. Talk about what Tyson Anderson means to your special teams.
Well, he's done I think everybody was so elated for him last week when he got a game ball, because they've seen the struggles that he's had in terms of not necessarily the struggles that he's had, but I think they see the time, the effort, and how important it is for him to play well and to be there for his teammates and to be around the guys. And so it's just so uplifting to see him have success. And because, as you stated before, he's such a good kid, and he tries so hard, and he wants to be great. And he does all the little things that even as a young player, he understands what all the little things are, what it means to be a pro. And it's so, it just makes you feel so good to know that he's having production too. It's not that he's just out there playing, but he's playing effectively.
Right.
And he was in on a couple more tackles. I think he's our leading tackler, and I think he's got 8. And so it's a very, very positive thing for us, especially when you got a punter who has been getting the ball as far down the field as what Ryan has. To have a gunner right in their face all the time to make a tackle, it becomes a huge factor for us in terms of helping win that field position battle. He's been a huge part of that.
Sure, absolutely. I think it was Muma early in the game. There was a big hit on kick coverage, and was it Muma? Muma put a hit on somebody, didn't he? I mean,
it was Muma. It was Muma and Akeem Davis Gay. They both hit the return about the same time. It came right after the kickoff return for the touchdown. Obviously, our guys were juiced up and jacked up after that, and then we come down and put a good hit on the returner right away. And it's so great to see the emotion and the energy that those guys play with there. And I said, it's. We're like the special forces guys, right? We're like the tip of the spear. We're always the first guys in, to battle. And so we want to be the group that uplifts the rest of the team. And so we had 2 very, very effective plays. We had the first 3 plays, really, if you want to count the few of the PAT. But the first 3 plays of the game were back to back to back. And I think we won those pretty well. And it certainly creates a lot of juice and energy for the rest of our team.
And that's a heck of a good point right there. I mean, that's special teams. I mean, when they're performing at a special level like that, I mean that does get contagious. I mean, you get young players pretty much that are working with you on special teams. Maybe give us a couple of guys that from week 1 to here now at this stage of the season have gotten a pretty good idea of your expectations, what you want them to do, how you want them to do it, and all that good stuff. Who's arrowing up for you?
Well, I think virtually all of them are. I mean, let's face it, we didn't start off great. We had some plays early on in the season I don't think that a lot of guys are very proud of, and I think they've all kind of grown together. And it's certainly not something like we've arrived, but we're taking advantage. We're keeping on improving. We're going to keep growing on a week-to-week basis, and just understanding how to play, how to react in certain situations. We did a couple of higher level things in the game where we made some checks and did some different things based upon what they did, that it's very encouraging to me to see we can handle that type of stuff, both mentally and physically. And we did that. We were able to execute it well, and so it was good to see. And we took advantage of things. So, like I said, it's just nice to see these guys coming together. There's a lot of guys that I can name. Josh Newton's taken on a bigger role as of late here. He's a starting gunner for us. He's a 3-phase, sometimes a 4-phase starter for us. I think he's continuing to learn how to play as a young guy, as a rookie. As you said, Tyson, it's been great to see. We keep expanding his role and keep to see the dominance that he's played with. You got your steady Eddies and Akeem Davis-Gaither and Joe Bocci. Joe's played at a high level, a very, very consistent level of performance. Muma's still learning how to play. We all know that he can hit and can tackle. He's just learning how to play the game, right? There's just so much that he has to learn, and so many things, just how to play, what to expect in certain situations, how teams are going to try to attack him, what they're going to do to him. I think he's getting better at it. I think it's improving on a week-to-week basis. It's still got, certainly got a ways to go. Tanner Hudson has played a lot of snaps for us the last 2 weeks. It's not, special teams has not really been a part of his repertoire over his career.
Right.
But I think he's and part of my job is to get him to understand and to learn that if you're not playing effectively here, A, you're not going to get a dress up on Sundays. Mm-hmm. And then B, when we have attrition that happens and injuries happen in other positions, if you're not active on Sundays, I know exactly what position group they're going to go for the guys who aren't active, who can't contribute in the kicking game. So I think he understands that, and so we've gotten some beneficial snaps out of him here the last couple of weeks. So,
Coach, final question. Appreciate you carving all the time you have for us. I know it's a busy work day for you guys. Every day is once the regular season hits, but the beginning of the week is big. So, when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles special teams, how good are they? How tough a matchup is this one?
I think they're again, I've not had the chance to dive into them deep yet. I've done some preliminary stuff. That's kind of what's coming up as soon as I get off of this, is really diving into them. But I know they got a pretty good group. Obviously, we know they got a good kicker in Jake Elliott. I think their punter is doing a good job too, Braden Mann. I think they lost their returner a couple weeks ago, but yet they got a first-round pick, and the kid from Iowa, Cooper DeJean, is returning punts for them. And again, I haven't dove into all their personnel, but I think they're a very consistent, tough group that, I think they've been hitting a lot of touchbacks on kickoff, so they're limiting the amount of opportunities that we could get. We'll see what they decide to do on Sunday. But again, we just played the team they played, and they beat them 28-3 in the Giants. So they're doing something right. And but it'll be a good matchup for us. We'll be excited to play in front of our home crowd again, and hopefully we can just put together a good game of all 3 phases playing together. We've kind of had a little disjointed, if you want to call it that way, I guess. Maybe 1 or maybe 2 groups play well, and the third group doesn't play quite as good, or whatever it may be. We'd hopefully we can start to get it put together here, and I think this is going to be a big litmus test for the rest of our season. How it's going to go is based on this game.
Browns win the coin toss. They defer. Bengals are receiving the football. You think, that's all right. You were probably like, I got something. Browns, I can't wait for this. It didn't take long for Darrin Simmons to show that adjustment. Boom, 12 seconds later, 7-0, baby. You're the man, Coach.
Well, appreciate you having me on as always.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Thanks. You do the same.
Put together a good one, sir.
Will do.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.